We're simply updating our policy to reflect this change made by public health officials. These days, when you visit a grocery store, a restaurant, or a mall, you'll see that some people are wearing masks and others are not. Personally, I always choose to wear a mask because I have a 1-year-old at home, and we still strongly recommend that riders and drivers wear a mask as well.
Uber Canada announcing today it is dropping its mask mandate for Ontario drivers and passengers this Friday. The company saying wearing a mask depends on personal risk factors and infection rates in your area, adding that drivers will have the right to require riders to wear a mask and cancel trips if the passenger refuses. This as competitors Lyft and Beck Taxi both say they will keep the mandate in place for now. To discuss, we're joined live by CP24 tonight Uber driver Ijaz Butt and Samantha Yamin, neuroscientist and science communicator. Thank you both for joining us here on CP24 tonight. Ijaz, the company that you're working for is making mask wearing optional. Is that a good idea, a bad idea? How do you feel?
I think pandemic is still there, yes. If you see in UK, Omicron's is again boost up there and is a big risk again. We need at least more few months with wearing mask if use in Uber ride or any other ride sharing rides, because it's airtight vehicles and customer must wear mask and including drivers. So it's safety concern for the both sides.
Right. So you say this is about protecting the driver and the passenger in this case, right? Samantha, we'll come to you next. Your dad has his own car service. How's he feeling about the situation?
My dad is keeping masks on my recommendation, but also because he knows that it's the best thing that he can do for his clients and for himself. And just like Ijaz said, it's a confined space. It's great if you can pop windows open, even if just periodically, to try to make that a little more safe. But the masks are definitely a layer that you want to keep, especially because you're close and air is circulating around there. So it is a bit of a surprising decision being made, although it's following the province, right?
Right, absolutely. And, you know, this is getting kind of confusing. We heard from the province that is strongly recommending that people keep their masks on. So in most places, public places, you don't really have to keep your mask on. You still have to wear one at the hospital, on transit. Uber, no. Lyft, yes. In a Beck Taxi, yes. Do we have the clear public health messaging we need? Because this could lead to some confusion, right?
Yeah, whenever again, we're removing these norms and you're leaving it up to people to decide, even if someone might think that they want to wear a mask, it just becomes a little more awkward now. It's a decision, and what if that person's not? And it's a really, you're putting the burden on individuals when we know what's best for the population and for everyone, especially at this time that we're coming out of sixth wave still. We're just sort of nearing that plateau. So shifting that burden and adding that awkwardness, removing the norm when we know scientifically what's a good idea, you know, it makes it more confusing, and it's not very clear in how, it doesn't send a very clear message to people. It makes it seem like masks don't matter anymore when you start removing them.
Ijaz, let's talk more about Uber's new policy. So you have the right to require your riders to wear a mask, and you can cancel a trip if that request is declined. Will you be doing that?
Yeah, it's before, because when Uber tell that is mandatory, and we have a right on that time to cancel that right. But now Uber planning to cancel his own real plan, which is very important. We still, through your media, requesting to Uber's general manager and other officials, we need at least more few months for mandatory for the mask instead of optional.
So you're asking Uber to reverse course here. If it doesn't, Are you worried about what happens if a passenger isn't okay with your decision to ask them to wear a mask? Does this put you in a difficult position?
This is a difficult position for every driver. If driver take a risk, and if driver want to request the customer, please wear the mask, and they, automatically there is a grievance happened, because Uber recommendations is supporting without wearing mask. So if we will even request the customer is almost upset, and he never agreed for that. And this is maybe in future put more problems.
Right. Samantha, could all of this just be avoided if the province came out and said, look, we're following the science, we're following the latest trends, and that tells us keeping your mask on is a good idea, so we're going to go ahead and make that mandatory?
Absolutely, Lena. I mean, on one hand, we are faulting the companies making these decisions, but they're also following what the province is doing. And so if it were just coming from the top, this is what we've been lacking through the whole pandemic, is just strong top-down messaging to make it clear so that the right decision gets made. Because leaving it up to people doesn't always, like, nothing's that way. You know, we wear seatbelts. That's something you have to do. When it's mandated, it just becomes the norm. It becomes what people do. And there's no room for lack of clarity. And you're putting drivers in this vulnerable position, passengers in this vulnerable position. If it were just clear from the top that this is still a good idea and this is still something that is strongly recommended for everyone at this time especially, then we wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a good point, because imagine if officials came out and said, you know, seatbelts are a great idea. We think they really work in saving lives, but hey, it's still an option for you. Not quite as effective as coming out and saying, this is really something you should be doing, and for that reason, we're mandating it. There's a difference there, right?
Exactly. That's why we have mandates and policies and laws, because it's just one less thing for people to think about, especially when it's so clear that it's a necessary and safety thing. It doesn't make sense to not have it in place. Again, it'd be great if we didn't need to mandate it and it were just what people did because it's the right thing to do. But nothing in our world kind of works that way. That's why we have rules in place.
Yeah, Ijaz, I'm sure you drive a lot of people here in the city and beyond. What's your message to people who get into your Uber tonight? What would you like them to do? And are most people keeping their masks on?
Yeah, mostly people wear mask still. Even when even though they don't have, and they come to the car and they looks on our side, and we wear the mask. Then, oh, sorry, I forget. So we have in our cars even free mask for riders. If they don't have, we provide them. Even sanitizer and everything we have. We are fully loaded for the safety equipments.
Okay. We'll leave it there. Ijaz Butt and Samantha Yamin, thank you so much for your time. We certainly appreciate this here on CP24 tonight.